Good evening, Reverend Vaughn and fellow classmates and my wonderful audience. On tonight, we'll be discussing suicide is real among pastors and clergy leaders. Quite often, we look to our pastors, our clergy leaders, our ministers for encouragement, for wisdom, for guidance, and we fail to realize that they suffer with a lot of the same things that we suffer with. A few of the things that they suffer with or can suffer with is depression, burnout, family issues, marital issues, and loneliness. These things, if not resolved, causes depression, and it can spiral into them feeling or attempting to commit suicide or actually committing suicide. And in past times, there have been quite a few ministers, quite a few senior pastors that have committed suicide. The relevance of this for me is that around about August of 2018, I was hit with a major bout of depression. Now, mine did not spiral to the place that I felt like I was going to commit suicide. However, I would just have random bouts of crying, random bouts of feeling lonely, random bouts of being overwhelmed. Just like, and as I'm a minister, I'm not a senior minister or a senior leader, but I am the executive pastor of our church, which I'm like the business pastor of our church. Those things really plagued me. So for our PowerPoint presentation, we have a couple of things that we're going to just discuss briefly on this evening. Have you ever felt the things that I mentioned? Have you ever felt depression or depressed? Have you ever felt depressed? Have you ever felt overwhelmed? Have you ever felt overwhelmed? I know I have. Burnout. You felt like you just couldn't take anymore. Like you just did not have time to do what you needed to do. Have you ever felt lonely? Well, just like you, or family, I missed one. Family problems, marital problems. Just like you, so have many of your pastors and clergy leaders. Schaeffer Institute has some stats that I found very interesting in studying this subject. 70% of our pastors constantly fight depression. They constantly fight, and it's secret. I really didn't tell anybody that I was feeling depressed. Maybe a friend of mine, but I really didn't tell anybody. 71% feel burned out. They feel they're like they're on call 24/7. Like there's always something for them to do. 70% say that they don't even have friends, that they're lonely, that they cannot be the real them outside of their congregants. They can't be their real self. And 80% feels ministry negatively affects their family and their marriages. How can you help your leaders? How can you help them? The first thing that came to mind in my studying is pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for your leaders. Pray for those who have rule over you. Know that they're human. That's my last point there. But know that they're human. And encourage your pastors. Encourage your leaders. Encourage your ministers of the gospel. And know that they're human too. Just know that they're human. They are human too. And they suffer the same life difficulties. The same depression, the lack of money, the lack of finances, the lack of help. They do that too. So just know that your ministry leaders, though they are called by God, know that though they are called to do great exploits that God called them and extend them quite a little bit higher, just know that they suffer the same type of things. So pray for your leaders, encourage your leaders, and know that they're human too.